What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 49 or 101, depending on how you count it. You know what?
Fuck it, 101.
101, yeah, we've only got Dan here. Say hi, Dan.
Hi.
And I don't know where the heck everyone else is. It's like they did 100 episodes, and they're like, all right, we got to 100. Fuck this, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just...
And I missed 100, so I had to show up for 101.
Yes. So, yeah. So I guess after this, it's just going to be like me.
The Roncley, and the Penth.
So yes, this is the Six Gaming Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We do have a number of things to get to today, starting with Shosan's favorite part of the show, the first half of the show. News!
Good news, everyone.
Yes. And we're going to start with an interesting story about Witcher 3. They're going to have a expansion coming out.
And this is not one of their totally free DLCs. They're doing a full-blown expansion, and they're saying that it's going to be better than the original game. I think this is the second expansion, if I'm correct, but maybe it was just one of the first DLCs was kind of big. But
Correct.
I mean, I'm expecting, based on the size of the game, I'm expecting this expansion to be 10, 15 plus hours. And they're saying that the graphics are better and that the gameplay is better and the quests are better. I mean,
it should feel more refined.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red is killing it with this game, and they're talking about their next like Cyberpunk game is going to be even bigger than this. I mean, they're really showing everyone how to do a game. They've had articles in Forbes. I mean, they're killing it with this game.
Absolutely, they are. It's slated to come out sometime in the first half of 2016. So if you're interested in picking that up, still got a ways to wait, but it's expected to offer. You said what, 10 to 15? They say 20.
Yeah,
which is double of what October's expansion had. Hearts of Stone.
Mm-hmm.
So they took home its first Game of the Year award in December at the Game Awards. It's been nominated for the same honor at the Game Developers Choice Awards and the DICE Awards, and it is also up for a Writers Guild of America award. Which that says a lot. This game made a lot of waves when it came out, and looks like they're going to continue to do so into 2016, which is pretty cool. All right, moving on to some sad news. Of course, we learned this last week was a bad week to be a British actor age 69.
And can I also just say that apparently somebody is letting George R.R. Martin write 2016. That seems to be the case.
Is he going to kill everyone off?
That seems to be how it's going, because we lost David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
We lost Alan Rickman.
And I had to look up who he was. I did not know who he was.
Alan Rickman?
But he's been in so many things.
He's Hans Gruber. He's the voice of Marvin the Paranoid Android from the most recent Hitchhiker's Guide. He is Professor Snape, of course.
Yes. He is the dressed up alien in Galaxy Quest. I didn't know that.
By Grabthar's hammer, he will be avenged.
Absolutely. I've been trying to think of that phrase all week.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of it because I've only seen the movie once. It's a pretty good movie.
It's a fantastic movie. They made Spaceballs without being Spaceballs.
Pretty much. Yes, absolutely. But
he was a fantastic actor. And actually, if you go back and look, he was Metatron in Dogma.
Oh, geez, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. He's been in all kinds of things. And he was a very...
Right. Okay, yeah, I see that now.
Yeah. He was... I saw an interview with... the redhead kid from Harry Potter. I can't think of the actor's name right now. But I guess he was doodling a picture of Alan Rickman in the on set. They were supposed to be writing stuff with their quills, and he was doodling Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman comes up right behind him, and he said it was not a very nice picture. And then they later on were talking to Alan Rickman. They're like, hey, so he said that he drew this picture. He's like, yeah, I made him sign it, and I kept it, and I really like it. Oh, wow. He was just like a really nice guy, and all of the Harry Potter kid actors have written on Facebook and Instagram and whatever how sad they are, because he was a very much a father figure to a lot of them on the set. He was very supportive of them, and So it's really sad. Plus, also another person who passed away was Brian Bedford,
Okay.
he was not 69. He was actually a little bit older.
Oh.
But if you ever saw, he was a very popular stage actor in Britain. But also, if you ever saw Disney's Robin Hood, where they're the foxes, he was the voice of Robin Hood.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow.
Which is
interesting.
Coincidentally the origin of the hamster dance song. Just to throw that out there for anybody who started on the internet in the 90s.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So anyway, the reason why we bring this up is David Bowie has done all kinds of things. And one of the things he did back in the late 90s was he appeared in a game called Omicron. I believe it's by Square. Was it by Square Enix or?
I don't know if they just own it now or.
But
anyway,
yeah,
Square Enix distributes it now.
Yes.
Whatever it was.
And it's a $10 game right now, but in honor of David Bowie's passing, they're giving it away for free. All you need to do is go to the Square Enix store and enter the coupon code Omicron at checkout, and you get the game for free. So yeah, I've never played the game myself. I don't know anyone who has. It's the first I've actually heard of the game. Mm-hmm. So
it's an older game.
Yeah, he's a character in game named Boz, and he reportedly had some creative control of the game as well.
Yeah, and it's good till the 22nd to pick it up. So, but it is until supplies last. So they must have some specific number of keys they're going to give out.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. I think that's a really cool tribute. So, moving on, we've got a bit of an esports segment today. ESPN has dropped an esports Twitter account. They're at ESPN_esports. And so far, they've been doing pretty good. They've been covering all kinds of things. They've been covering the EULCS, the NALCS, CSGO. One of the early complaints was that they weren't covering any Smash, but they listened and they started covering that like right away. They only started this account. What's today? Today's the 16th. They just started it Thursday. So I mean, it's pretty cool. They they cover the EULCS, all kinds of other things. They also have various news stories about people like why have Mark Cuban, David Stern, and Amazon why are they making big bets on esports? So if you're at all interested in what is going on in the world of esports in general, this is a great account to follow because you get pretty much everything. It's really cool. I definitely encourage checking that out. Twitter.com/ESPN_esports. And it's kind of weird to plug something from ESPN on the show. Just so yeah, I strongly suggest checking it out. Like they have they retweet the LOL esports schedule for tomorrow. So if you want to know who's playing, if you're following ESPN, you know.
Yep.
So definitely check it out. And one last thing in our main news segment here, there's now a public high school in Norway. I'm kind of torn on this here. They're adding some kind of esports to its physical education curriculum.
I think it should be a what are they even called? Not extracurricular, but like voluntary classes. I can't think of what those are called right now, but if instead of taking art or graphic design or shop, then you could take that. But I would say that it can't just be you sit down and play. I think it should be about the theory and the because you learn. I mean, learning to play the games, you definitely you become a more logical minded person.
It's interesting how they're doing this because they have 30 people in the class, and they're going to split them up into 15, two groups of 15. And one group is going to have they're going to be playing on their high-end PCs and whatnot. The other group, they're actually going to be taking part in some physical exercises that will enhance some of the skills that they feel are required for esports in general. Concentration, reflexes are to
Mhm.
the name, and this is like the first public school at least in Scandinavian country that has ever offered this. Now, the reason why I find this a little bit interesting because I mean, I don't know. I guess it's like the evolution of. I mean, the whole point of like physical education, for instance, is to keep, is to, I
Get kids
guess,
healthy. I mean, you
yeah,
want,
keep them healthy. This kind of
yeah.
works if the
Well,
way that they're doing it, because they're not always sitting there and playing games the whole time. And plus the games that they're playing, by the way, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, these aren't single player games where you're just going to sit and zone out in front of the computer and sit there and vegetate all day. No, you're talking with your teammates. You're going to learn skills. You're going to learn social skills.
mhm.
It's an interesting take on it. It's
I would argue that it should not be physical education.
I don't think it's physical
It
education.
should be
Maybe the other half is physical education. So
just because I doubt that the amount of, they said they're going to do some exercises to help them be better. It's just not going to be enough for it to count. I mean, a kid playing basketball for 40 minutes or whatever length of classes,
Mhm.
or doing jump rope or running or whatever you would be doing in gym class, it just isn't the same. You're not getting,
Yeah.
it's not the same. And I'm not, and I'm not getting into is it a sport or not, but it's just, if we're talking about high school kids that need to move around during the day to get some energy out and to stay a little bit healthier, playing Dota isn't going to do it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is an alternative to physical education or if it's a supplement to. Because if it's a supplement,
If it's a supplement, that's fine.
fine.
I'm totally
Yeah.
fine with that.
It doesn't say either way. So, but yeah, yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how this works out. I mean, this could be something that could be, they might be onto something here. We just don't know. We won't know until it actually works out in practice one way or another.
Yeah. Mr. Fu pointed out in chat that PE and sports are designed for physical aspects, but also about team building.
Yeah.
And so, to your comment, it is great for team building, but I think that is a supplemental part of what physical education. Now, granted, I also I'm biased because I don't know what physical education is in Scandinavia either. So maybe all those kids play soccer after school or walk 6 miles in the snow back and forth from school, and they're really healthy anyway. And I'm just thinking of like US gym where everyone really needs to everyone really needs to move around.
Yeah, Mr. Fu also says that he wasn't getting anything in his physical education classes. You didn't go to high school in Western New York. That's all I gotta say. There were some brutal classes that I remember taking. And there's this one. Oh God, there's this. Of course, everyone played dodgeball in physical education. Right?
Sure.
We had these volleyballs that we'd throw around. The volleyballs are pretty light. You can whip them around pretty good. But there was this one that was just ridiculously waterlogged. And it was called the Rock. And it was called the Rock because when it hit you, it felt like a fucking rock. and this was okay. This was an okay thing. In fact, he was like, the teacher was like, don't let this thing hit you in the head because it's going to hurt. It'll knock you out. So it's like, wow, this is pretty serious. So yeah, that's Mr. Fu. I don't know where you went to PE class, but you were let off easy.
Yeah. We had jump roping stuff where like at parts we had to jump rope for like 3-4 minutes straight, which that'll take a lot out of you.
I remember you had to do like sit-ups for like a minute straight or something, and I was never good at that kind of thing. My thing was volleyball. That's what I like to do. And every once in a while they played like floor hockey and whatnot. And that was kind of fun. So I don't know. It's different. Like when we went outside to play football, I was terrible at that because I couldn't throw or pass to save my or catch to save my life.
I was the kid that no one thought was any good at sports. I mean, I was good at swimming, but not like on land.
No,
And so no one would cover me when we played football, and so I'd always be wide open. And so when I did get thrown the ball and managed to catch it, it was like an easy jog into the end zone.
yeah. Oh wow. Anyway, so that does it for our main news. Damn, what you got to drink?
Tonight I've got I am on a carafe of sake from Benihana.
Aha.
But that was a couple hours ago. And when I was at the grocery store, I saw Leinenkugel's has a variety pack of shandies. They have cranberry ginger, spiced pear, and something else. And I mean, it's definitely very sweet and fake tasting, but I really like any kind of ginger drink, ginger beer, ginger ale, ginger soda, double bubble ginger soda. Whatever Wonka put into his machine to make it go across the hallway. So I figured I'd try it. It's pretty good.
Good. Cool. Well, the reason I asked, of course, for you got League of Legends news. Yeah. But we got something. I'm not going to go into one of the things we're actually thinking of dropping from the show is the weekly updates on League of Legends and just sticking to like the big news coming out of League of Legends. But we do have some this week. Of course, earlier today, I got a chance to sit down and watch a little bit of League, and I happened to come in just in time for the game Renegades versus Team Liquid. Now, this is important because the Renegades support player is named Remy, and she is the first female League of Legends pro player ever to be on the stage. And what amazed me about this is that they didn't make a big deal about it.
Let me say they is the broadcasters.
Riot Games, the media in general. I mean, you can't find a single story dating within the last month about this. I feel this is an historic event. It's what we've been waiting for almost, is to have a competent female player, and she had a very strong early game. I watched her play. She played Alistar, and she set up some amazing ganks. She also got what I think was the game-winning team fight when she singled out Piglet, of all people, who's Team Liquid's legendary AD carry. She singled him out and was able to knock him up in the air and just crowd control him long enough for the rest of her team to wipe him out. It was awesome. So she did pretty good. I wouldn't say she was top tier because she made a couple mistakes. Of course, she got caught out a couple times, but that game, almost everyone got caught out. I mean, Piglet lost the game for Team Liquid. If you didn't watch the game, by the way, it was a 62-minute game, which is long in terms of League of Legends. And Team Liquid's mid laner was like 18 creep score short of the CS record, which, I mean, there were a lot of great things about that game that definitely go back and watch that game. But yeah, I really think that something of this level should have at least been commemorated or something, not just completely ignored because she doesn't want the attention. Which is what it boils down to. If you read her Reddit post right after they made the LCS last summer, she made it very clear that she was not in it for to have any type of attention brought to her. In fact, she wanted Riot Games to not pay attention to her at all. So I mean, it's interesting.
Well, it's also, if she does well, then it's good. But if they pay all this attention to her and then she has a shitty game, then of course it's like, well, of course it was bad because she's a woman. Like,
yeah,
it's that you end up with problems like that. And so, and I just want to mention the reason that I clarify that they being Riot and ESPN or whoever was covering it. Twitch chat was, Twitch chat's disgusting.
Let's not even hold on a second. You just said the two words that are going to make me do this.
Yeah, it was just, we've talked about Gamergate and stuff, and without going into the whole who's right, who's wrong, whatever, gaming in general has some issues when it comes to women.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with the apparently inability to understand that women can just play games the same as guys, and it shouldn't be a big deal, because like Twitch chat, you can't really read it anyway. It's just a bunch of spam. But every time they showed her, it was like 7 pages of everyone just saying grill, as in girl, and boobs, and just relax and watch the game. Like,
yeah, I mean that's why I was truly interested to see how well she performed. And like I said, they Team Liquid did a good job banning her out. They banned Lulu and Thresh, and Thresh is what she's known for. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mad Life, who is like a god level Thresh player. Apparently, her nickname that she likes to go by is Mad Wife, because she also feels that she's that good at Thresh. They banned her out, so she couldn't play her favorite champion. So she ended up playing Alistar. And like I said, she set up some really good ganks. Alistar is a very tough support champion to play, especially at a high level. And she had mixed results. She had a really strong early game. She got caught out a couple times in the middle game and couldn't really find any targets until that very last team fight. It was like 58 minutes in the game. She finds Piglet and they wipe her out, and they blow up a Nexus turret, and they had to regroup. But I mean, they just repeated the process again and won the game off of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it should have been something should have been done other. I mean, maybe it's all because of her wishes. Maybe they're respecting her wishes, and if so, that's cool. But I don't know if it feels to me like
what
else? Opportunity missed here, because I mean, we're already having a hard time getting females into professional esports.
You can just say, like, Remy, who's the first woman to enter the championship series, and then just it may have been said at some point, and
it could have been.
We just didn't hear it.
To be fair, I did not see the pre-game show. I saw picks and bans, and from then on, it was just.
I mean, it's not like they're going to have pink confetti fall from the ceiling. I mean,
that would be.
You know what I mean?
Then I would look down on Riot Games.
Right. So they probably made mention of it just briefly and moved on, which is, I think, is good.
But I mean, they don't even have any stories on her. I mean, they very frequently will bring up articles on certain players for whatever reason. They just didn't do it with her. So okay, if that's what she wants, I'm cool with that. If
Mr. Fu said that his wife, hey everyone, Mr. Fu has a wife. It's a girl.
Oh.
No, just whenever on Reddit anyone says something about my girlfriend, the next comment is usually, hey everyone, this guy's got a girlfriend. Anyway, so he said that his wife hates it when he mentions that she's a woman, that when they're playing online, because she wants everyone to, I mean, it is a level playing field, but people perceive it differently. And then he said she wants people to feel stupid and bad because they got their asses kicked, not because it was kicked by a girl.
That's true. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's that. So it's kind of interesting. This is kind of turned into a mini cross table here.
Yeah, but if you I can't think. Was there anybody? I can't think of anyone in our guild that played an opposite gender where it was like a huge surprise. Rigel, maybe?
No,
but I think everyone knew.
Pretty G. Pretty G.
I didn't.
Pretty G was a male who played a female character.
No, I never knew him.
And got one of the. Or, no, it wasn't. No, what was it? It wasn't Pretty G. It was. What the heck was his name? His real name was Eric. I remember that much. But he got, it was Pretty G who fell for it. He thought that he was a girl, and as soon as he revealed he was a guy, he quit the next day. It was like the stuff of Legends Stack and Wrath. It was great. But yeah, aside from, we've had a 6 minutes to release. We had 2 transgender people in our guild at one point. So it's. I never thought anything of it.
Yeah, I mean, Shrug. It's, as you said earlier, Shrug. Like, it's just that's who the person is. It's not a big deal.
Very happy to have them in the guild. So
Yep.
Except the one kind of went a little.
Well, that's about the person, not about.
That was more about the person, because the other one, of course, Catheta. I loved playing with. Gotta call her now, because this is really hard, because when I first started playing with him back in Black Flag, which is the guild I was in prior to 6 minutes, he was still he, and then he transitioned, and it's kind of funny, because he set me up in God, I don't even remember the name of the program anymore. Ventrilo. We sat in the Ventrilo channel for like 20 minutes, and he said, "Ask anything you want," and I did. I really was genuinely curious, and it was a good conversation. It was like, after that, I was like, "Yeah, I'm cool with it."
Yep.
So, but anyway, that aside, I mean, yeah, but Renegades 1-0. We'll see how they go. It's still a pretty long season. They have NRG tomorrow. We'll see if they can finish out with a perfect record. And then, of course, the other not pro sports news, but still League of Legends related, Cole Zaratha actually brought this up, that apparently when you go into the solo queue now, you can queue up with more than one person if you want to, or more than two people. You used to only be able to do solo queue with two people. But apparently now that restriction's been lifted, you can do 3 if you want to. I don't know if you can do 4 or 5. I don't think you can do 5, because that's considered team ranked. But it's kind of cool, because that lets you play. Like I know there were times when I was playing that, I'd be playing with Veg, and Cole's be coming in. Hey, you want queue? And like, oh, I'm already with Veg. Oh, can't play. Okay, I'll just go on my own. It's kind of like the way Warcraft has evolved over time to try to be more inclusive, as opposed to kicking people out. So it's pretty interesting. I think that's a good step for him. So I think that's going to do it for news, which means we're going to go into the second half of the show, which, by the way, is show's favorite part. And what are we calling this part of the show?
I'm calling it Shitty Minutes. And until someone comes with a better name, it's Shitty Minutes.
Well, what have your shitty minutes been about this week?
So tomorrow I'm going to the Oath of the Gatewatch pre-release. I assume that Dropkick has probably already been to one or more. Friday night at midnight is when the first pre-releases were.
We talked about it last week, and he said that it's a lot better than the previous ones. He said
it is substantially. This set is supposedly. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of reports yet out of the games, but apparently the last set, which I didn't get to play the last set very much because I was out of town when the tournaments were, but this set has had some pretty good reviews. They're introducing the colorless mana symbol, which is a pretty big deal in terms of the way that the game works. So if you don't know, there's 5 colors in mana: white, red, blue, black, green. And there's always been there is undefined mana, so you can pay it with any color.
Right. There's for instance, you'd have like green, and 2, which meant you needed to have 2 greens, but you could have 2 of anything else.
Right. And then there were cards that say this card produces colorless mana, and that colorless mana was used to pay the numbers in a gray circle. It wasn't, you couldn't pay any colored mana with it, but you could pay any, or you could pay X. Sometimes something said X, where X is some number of mana.
Called pumping.
Yeah, so now there is actually a colorless mana symbol. It is like a diamond in a gray circle, and it's basically the 6th color of mana. I don't know how long it's going to stay in the game, because the storyline for this set has to do with the Eldrazi, which are like a colorless evil race of things. I don't know the full story for them.
How's that going to work? You say it's like a 6th color, but is it?
So there are lands called wastes, which create this colorless mana, and there are also some cards that say sacrifice or tap this card for 1 colorless mana. So you can get it. The interesting thing is, when you go to a pre-release or a draft or anything like this, you build a 40 card deck. Usually it's 27 spells and 13 lands is typically the split.
Yeah, 1 to 2.
There are land stations, which are just like little just little boxes that they have out, and it has all the 5 colors of mana, and you just go up and get lands, and then you put them back when you're done. They're free to use during the course of the game. To use wastes, you must pull them out of your packs. So when you're drafting, which the way the draft works is you open a pack, you take a card, and you pass it. So the first pack, you get the first pick. The second pack, you get the second pick, and so on. You have to pull wastes out of the pack to use wastes. You can't just go up and get them. So it does make it interesting. I don't know if that's going to change anytime in the future, or if it'll always stay like that, or if it's just for the set, or what's going to happen. But so it's a very interesting set. There's a few powerful cards. Speaking of powerful cards, this morning, or maybe last night, Wizards posted. Wizards of the Coast is the company that owns Magic and also Dungeons and Dragons, which, by the way, is parent company of Hasbro. They really should. I think they should pimp Magic a little bit more than they do.
Right.
Anyway, so this card called Splinter Twin, which is a huge part of a lot of championship decks, like the people who are winning huge tournaments and stuff. And I'm going to look up a price for it right now, but frankly, it's probably different than what it was 2 days ago. Yeah, right now they're down to $5, and they had been quite a lot more, 10, 15, 20, and upwards.
Right.
So what Splinter Twin did, or does, it's an enchantment for a creature, and when you tap it, you put a copy of that creature onto the battlefield, and you can use it, and then it goes away at the beginning of the next step, which is incredibly powerful. If you have a big creature on the battlefield, you can basically create a copy of it.
Right.
So this card was in like every championship deck. Well, it got banned yesterday or today. It is no longer legal to play, and people are losing their freaking minds over it. Now, Wizards' explanation, and I tend to agree with them, but I don't have a Splinter Twin deck, was that if everyone's playing it, it's kind of like how in Warcraft, before they changed the skills in Pandaria, there was the skill tree, and there was an accepted skill tree. Like, it was like, okay, this is how people would get kicked out of guilds if they didn't have their skill tree set up right. It wasn't optional. There was all these options, but there really weren't any options. There was the right way to do it. So if the only way, if your deck was either Splinter Twin or I'm trying to beat Splinter Twin, then that's not a fun meta basically for the game.
True.
So they banned it so that there'd be more diversity. Yeah.
Cool.
And there's a lot of banned cards over the years. There are not a lot of ones like that have been banned in recent years. But when one deck becomes basically the de facto best deck and everyone's playing it, then that stops being fun. So they banned it, and I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
But that was just some interesting.
Could put more variety back in the game, I'm sure.
Right. It's people. I mean, there are other cards that do similar things, but their costs are slightly higher, or their effects are slightly weaker, and so it balances things a little bit. Like you can maybe it takes one more turn to be able to cast it, so the other player has one more thing on the battlefield that they can counter it with, or whatever.
Yeah, cool. So. Right. So mine's going to be really quick. Of course, I don't often cross promote my podcasts, but I do another podcast earlier in the day for
you said do.
Yeah, it's a self-destruct sequence podcast, and I was actually quite pleased. We brought on Spoody Biscuit to talk about his speedrunning, and it
sweet.
It was awesome. And now I wasn't quite sure how it would go because but he's got a lot of variety with his speedrunning, and we were able to bring up a lot of cool things. So yeah, definitely check that out. Probably have that out by Monday. It's over at fb.me/SDS podcast, I believe. I need to check now. because we don't have a catchy one like it's /SCS podcast. We don't have a catchy one like fb.me/6gaminggg. Oops, did I just plug our podcast?
I think we're allowed to plug our own podcast in our podcast.
But yeah,
I feel like we should.
Yeah, we should. So, so that's all I had. So, all right. So
this podcast is not brought to you by Stamps.com. Stamps.com, where you can send mail without the whatever. I don't know. A lot of podcasts are sponsored by Stamps.com.
And this is why we're not sponsored by Stamps.com, because we plugs.
Well, I'm not reading it. I'm just trying to remember it from like the Nerdist podcast or Greg Proop's podcast or.
All right, so we're going to move on to the third half of the show, folks. Third half. It is show's favorite part of the podcast, as always.
As always,
it's I can't do it. It just seems too cheesy to me.
Well, we can call it something else, but it's what you're playing.
Yeah, what you're playing. So we'll call it
because what the fuck are you playing? That's so.
That's old. That's 2X
2013.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna go to my illustrious co-host Pentherian. What you been playing?
I'm illustrious. Season 5 of Diablo 3 started last night.
Yeah, Diablo. Hold on.
Patch 2.4.
Hold on. Let me try this. I can't do it like Show. Show does it much better.
Oh. What's the if you ask Siri to beatbox for you, she's like cats and what was it? Cats and beans and cats and beans and cats and beans and cats and beans. You should ask Siri to beatbox for you.
Hey Siri, beatbox.
Here's one I've been practicing: boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats and boots. I could do this all day. Cats and boots and 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 cats and boots
and cats. Wow, that's she could do that all day. Okay. Anyway, back to what you're playing.
Optiplex thinks I'm Blake Griffin, or Optiplex is Blake Griffin. Someone's Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's Blake Griffin.
Yes, that's for sure.
Anyway, so I've been playing Diablo. 2.4 came out, and it's nice. You can get an extra tab on your stash, and they've updated a whole lot of gear. Lots of good changes. Added some areas. I like it. Trying to Crusader this season because there's a Legacy of Nightmares Bombardier build that looks really good, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to really finish it because it requires a crap ton of ancient items.
Yeah,
and
that was my problem.
I don't really have the time to farm all those.
I did, and
so we'll see.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I might go out and just do one of the other sets because I'm not really competitive. If I can have one of the other sets that works just okay. I mean, if I can clear like 40, 45 by myself, I'm fine with that. Played some more Spec Ops: The Line. I streamed that. I think that was this week. It might have been last week, but I was out last week.
I remember you going live at some point.
It was. I played some. It was some punching me in the feels. Yeah, it was rough. There was some war. War never changes. There's some nasty truths of war that I experienced. So that was rough. I keep recommending that if it's like $6-7 or something. It's pretty straightforward cover shooter, but I'm having to play it in small segments because it's like pretty intense. Playing. I'm gonna bring up this game called Atomus on Android. It might be. I imagine it's probably on other stuff too. But so you start off and you get a circle with element names on it, and it's going to be kind of hard for me to play it. But you play it by you tap and it inserts a item where like in between the places that you tap. and then eventually you get a plus sign, and so you put that between two of the ones that are the same, and then it absorbs those, and then you can see like there's kind of a line around the side here.
Yeah.
And so like if I got a plus in there, these two would combine and the next two would combine.
Okay.
And so the idea is that you until the circle fills, and then you lose when the circle fills.
All right.
So you always want to combine. You place them to combine them, and there's a lot of strategy that you kind of learn, and as you get better at it and you get higher, then you get like you get little things that can help you. So like you can start at a higher level, or you get more pluses, or you get more minuses, or things like that.
Now, how does that spell? Because I looked up an Adamus and found something completely different.
ATOMAS.
AS. Okay.
Adamas.
Adamas.
I'm also playing something called Loop, or it's also the infinity symbol. I'm not sure what the official name of it actually is, or if it's Loop Infinity Symbol or Infinity Symbol Loop.
Right.
But so your screen looks kind of like this. Actually, let me just show you an early level, because that'll be easier to explain.
I'm looking at Adamus right now. Well, by the way, what's your score on that?
On Adamus?
Yes.
I think my top score is like 8,000 or something like that. 7,200.
World record on Google Play is 1.03 million.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, of course, you can buy items, and the pay for perk item removes half of the items, or half of the balls on the playboard. Right. So you can basically always get yourself out of a bad situation.
The design of the UI reminds me of Dots.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, so here's a simpler one. So each level starts out with like just, it's a very plain screen.
Yeah.
And so you tap
to rotate.
Yep, tap to rotate.
And you have to have no loose ends.
You have to have no loose ends. So you have to have all the everything has to be connected.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's fun. And then there's actually like a sub game that you get like 10 levels of it for free, and then you have to pay to unlock. But that is the opposite. It's a bunch of squares that are touching along certain edges, and you have to rotate them so that there's none of them touching.
Cool.
So, yep. Those are what I'm playing this week.
All right. Well, I have a pretty big list because earlier this week I kind of went on a binge and just started playing all kinds of different things. Of course, the main thing that starts everything off is Descent. I'm still playing the heck out of it on the DCL. Still got the top bronze. Still have all 7 trophies. I've been holding some bronze players that are competitive with me, usually to some pretty embarrassing scores. So I've been doing really well. I'm hoping to get that silver promo sometime before this season ends, which ends at the end of April. So I'm pretty confident I can do that. Just got to keep playing. The other thing that I've been doing, and it's kind of funny because I was mentioning the Spoody Biscuit as a speedrunner. Well, I've been speedrunning the new 6 Degree of Freedom game called Sublevel 0. It's by Sig Trap Games, and it's basically a 6 Degree Freedom roguelike. It's got permadeath. If you die, you have to start all over, and it regenerates the thing every time. It's kind of
horrible.
Huh?
That sounds horrible.
Oh, it's great. It's really good. The first time I played through it, I was like, okay, I got to the end. Now what? I don't really feel like that this has any advancement. Well, I started to think, well, what if I tried to speed run this game? What if I tried to get to the end as fast as I could? How fast could I do it? I managed to get under an hour last week. This is 6 levels. and it's kind of funny because now I've played it a few times. I kind of understand what the upgrade paths are like. So there's a certain weapon that I look for early in the game, and on my 57-minute run, I got it. I got the weapon that you need to craft it on the first enemy.
Nice.
The game before that, it was on the 4th level. I got it, which by then it's like way too late. You've already wasted a ton of time. But yeah, it's kind of cool. And I still want to keep trying to push that time lower. I probably could get sub 50 minutes because I am spending a lot of time killing enemies, which in a speed run, you don't really want to do that. And plus, I had a pretty bad sub level, I want to say 3 or 4. One of them I couldn't kill the reactor fast enough. And that happens when you run out of ammo. Ammo in that game is actually pretty precious. And if you run out of it, it's really hard to kill the last reactor. So I'll probably be playing some more of that. Another 6 Degree of Freedom shooter. You can kind of see a pattern developing here. This one's called Neon Excesses. It's been in beta for a while, or alpha for a while, actually. It's been on pre-release on Steam for a couple of years, actually. But they're going full release 1.0 next month. They put a trailer out on YouTube. Definitely check it out. I played the... I have a save where I'm like tech level 77. There's 80 possible in the game. And I went through like the last... I think he calls it an arena, and I couldn't figure it out. I had no idea what was going on. You had to like shoot these things to open up things in the wall, and it just seemed like a big maze, and the mazes all intersected in 3D space. It was a pain in the ass. I only got like halfway through the second one, so I might go back and try to play that from the beginning again. That would be another pain in the ass game to speedrun because you actually have to level up to get to the end of the game. But that's Neon Excesses. And then the last one that I tried to advance a little more in was Chromaya, Kromaia. And this one's interesting because the AI in this game is interesting. Normally, when you play a game and you do fairly well, you get rewarded, right? Like if you're killing all the enemies fast, you might get rewarded with some kind of bonus. No, this game punishes you for doing well. You do well, you get harder enemies.
No, well that's
because
like scaling enemies.
It is scaling enemies, but the idea is that you need to get to the end. You have to collect all 20. I think it's called waypoint fragments or something. You got to get all 20, and then you get to the end boss, and the goal is to kill the boss. Well, if you're killing shit along the way, it says, oh, hey, this person is good at this game. Let me throw more shit at him. And it just gets ridiculously bad after a while. And I had to restart like a couple times because, I guess you have to kind of play it pacifist. Yeah. I have no other way to really describe it. It's really frustrating to play because, and the other thing, of course, is that the enemies in that game are, oh my God, they're so hard to aim at. Much easier on mouse. It's my first time playing it on mouse since I've switched to 6 Degree of Freedom. All my 6 Degree of Freedom games I play on mouse keyboard now. So it was a lot easier to play, but I still had a hard time with it. I still got ways to go before I even think of beating that game. So anyway, that's it for the 6 Degree Freedom games. I've also been playing a little bit of Crypt of the Necrodancer, largely because I'm going to be in the Conduit 8 in 2 weeks. Really looking forward to that. The last one was a hell of a lot of fun. We'll see if I can do well in this one. I've gotten back into Realm of the Mad God. Remember us playing that a couple years ago, and I actually got a Necromancer. He's pretty far along. He's got like 400 fame or something. He's almost maxed out on the 3 easier to get skills. So I've been playing around with that a bit. And then finally, of course, you mentioned it. I'm going to mention it. Diablo 3 Season 5 started yesterday. We had a group. It was me, Soli, a guy I work with. He goes by Bubba, and Shosan was in for like about 50, 55 levels. I was really surprised to see Sho in there. Because you know how often he talks down about Diablo 3 on the podcast.
Yeah, well, he was on this afternoon, and I got on with him and played like one rift, and then I had to go. And I don't know if it was before or after that he got in trouble. Had to go.
Yeah, so that was interesting. But yeah, he picked it up and went with us pretty good. I have to give a shout out to Kathy Salitha because she hit level 70 before Prodigy.
That is impressive.
I think Prodigy needs to uninstall personally. No, just kidding. Yeah, we were running really fast. The one thing that Bubba does before every season, he looks up what the most optimal way to level is, and it's changed this season. It's no longer you do those skeletons and Halls of Agony. You do that for a little bit, but once you hit like level 11, it's rifts to 70, and that made it a lot more fun. It also made it faster. We were done in 5.5 hours.
You want to power level me after the podcast?
Maybe. We also, me and Kathy also went on, and I actually finished the first 4 chapters of the season journey, and she's just her set dungeon away from doing hers. She's having a hard time with her set dungeon, which I do have to say, those set dungeons are pretty damn challenging. I actually tried one on my Demon Hunter before the season started, and I spent like maybe 30 minutes on it, and I couldn't get it.
I tried the Exploding Palm, so the Ulianas.
That's the one. Sunwoko.
I don't know. Sunwoko is different. Ulianica is one, and Sunwoko is the other one.
Okay. She's trying to do Sunwoko.
So Uliana is just stupid hard to me. I mean, you can't take any fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You have to kill 20 plus enemies 3 different times, which is usually easy. But
you getting off light. I had to do it 10 times on the Witch Doctor, and they had to be both haunted and locust swarmed.
Honestly, but the problem was that the density on this one is very low, and I don't know if it's totally random or because I think the set dungeons are always the same.
Right.
I don't know if the enemy placement is always the same. So I'm going to try it again later on my non-season just to check it out, to find out that answer. But it was unless I need to basically drag them around until I have a group, which is just that's not really how you play. Set dungeons are supposed to challenge you to use the set the best way, and that's not really. In high level rifts, you have good density, so I don't know.
But I noticed in my, in fact, in both the Demon Hunter and the Witch Doctor, which, by the way, the Witch Doctor gets the Jade Harvester set. Mm-hmm. That is so much fun to play right now. Way more. If I had a very hard time doing single target DPS with the Jade Hunter Witch Doctor back in season 2. I had no such problem at all. This time, because what they do is that your haunt now deals like a shit ton of damage if it's already haunted. So I've got my skill where I could do 2 haunts at once. I have a belt that makes it 3 haunts at once. Kathy just found a ring that I'm going to throw into my Kanai's cube that's going to let me do a 4th haunt that will go out every few seconds, and it's really cool. It's a very strong set. So hopefully I can do a lot better than I did. I think I only got to like 39 in my last Jade season. But this one, I mean, I already know I can clear 30 easily. So, and this is just the second day of the season. So, but yeah, hers, the Sunwoko one, one of the things that you have to do is you have to keep sweeping wind up the entire time. You can never let it drop. The problem is that the 6th set of the bonus
consume sweeping wind
stacks, exactly. So the trick is to try to keep it up, which of course you need high critical hit chance to really do successfully. And then there's this whole survivability thing. You have to actually survive it. It's actually pretty tough, especially for melee. I mean, for me, I had Dogs Out, which was doing all the tanking on the big mobs, and I almost got my mastery. I would have gotten my mastery if I would have been killing things along the way, which I didn't do. I went for the big packs, and then I went back and played cleanup, which shouldn't have done that. So, yeah. But, yeah, anyway, season 5, it's pretty good.
Yep, enjoying it. And it's only one day, so.
Yeah, I know. So, that's all I've been playing, and I don't think we have a 4th half tonight, do we?
No, I mean, I think our lead discussion was our cross-table, round table.
You don't really have a round table of 2 people.
It can be a small round table.
Like a really small one, yeah.
It can be like a 2-person bar table.
Like maybe round table pizza?
A pizza table?
A pizza table? I don't know. So yeah, I think we're gonna call
We'll wrap
here
it up.
for the night. Yeah,
Right
absolutely.
at around an hour. I'm good with that.
Yeah, sounds good for me. So, anything you have left for us?
Nope. Glad to be back after a week, and hoping we're actually coming up on like No Man's Sky and some of those other things that
Yeah.
seemed like a long way away back in beginning to middle of 2015, and we're at the beginning of 2016. So
Yeah, No Man's Sky may be the next major game I get.
mhm.
I'm really thinking about that. So we'll have to see.
I need to finish my book, so then I
There
can
you go.
buy it.
So anyway, this is of course the Six Gaming Podcast, and I am Ron Clee.
I'm Penth.
And until next time, Penth, take it away.
Adios. See you. Bye.